guys, Blue Gal here. Hi, good to see you. Happy end of the month. Coming on to fill you in on how the month went and the knitting that I got done or that I'm working on. I finished a pair of socks. I called them the squid socks because they were a Hedgehog Fibre colorway squid, and they went out the door with middle child. I also gave the merman socks that I showed you last month away to youngest child. So we had a party. Youngest child graduated from college. We had a party. I had to give socks to both of the guests, both of the children who were there at the party. Oldest child, who is a boy, will get socks at some point. But both of them at the party got socks. And so those are out the door. I do have a link to those socks, though, if you'd like to see them. There's a picture on Ravelry, of course. And yeah, I have posted those. I'm now working on a pair of socks that I couldn't remember what this yarn is, but I went and looked it up. And again, I think it's Hedgehog Fibre, which is a yarn that I like very much, sock yarn. I looked this up and went through, and I'm absolutely convinced with that much bright pink in it that this is one of their Potluck mixes, which I would have bought because it looked great on the skein, and then when I wound it, I thought it looked a little like color barf, and I didn't knit it for a long time. And then I just picked it out. I came across a pattern for broken seed stitch socks, which is more of a recipe than a pattern. It is to show you how to alternate a solid color and a variegated. And let's show you the other side. You can see there's a bit of pooling there, but it doesn't matter because you're breaking it up with a solid stripe. You knit, and this is a free recipe on Ravelry. I'll link below. It's similar to Hermione's Everyday Socks. You knit one, purl one, going around in the variegated, and then you just knit across with the solid. And then you do purl one, knit one with the variegated. So you are getting that seed stitch alternation, but you're doing a row of just knitting in between, and that gives you that kind of I don't know what you call it, fish scales maybe look to it. And of course on the bottom of the sock I just did the stripes for ease and wear, and I wound up after about 4 rows realizing, oh, I really shouldn't be changing colors here on the bottom of the sock, so I moved that over, and I'm trying to think if I can feel which it's this side. This side is where I'm changing color. I can feel it, but it's not on the bottom where your foot hits the floor. That's the important thing. So I would recommend that little tip in terms of striped socks is move that color change to the side of the sock so that you don't have any kind of buildup of yarn twists going through on the bottom of the sock. So I'm very happy with how these are working out, and I've already cast on the second one. And so moving along, it's a little bit tangly, but there's the second one on its way with the leg. So I'm really happy with that one. Again, that is the broken seed stitch recipe, and I link below. It is a free download of a 1-page directions on how to do that. I wanted to show you, I'll show you 2 other things. One is the socks for June are going to be Pride socks, and rest in peace for KnitCircus yarns, which went out of business, I think, earlier this year. I have always loved their superwash greatest of ease, 80% superwash, 20% nylon. It is so cushy. Greatest of ease is the base on this yarn, and this colorway is the first Pride was a Riot speckle. So rainbow speckle, and I think it's going to make a great pair of socks for Pride. And so and obviously this is going to youngest child, who will snatch these up for a Pride event. Youngest child goes to Pride St. Louis every year. So this will be fun for them, hopefully. Probably not this year. I think Pride will be over by the time I finish these socks, but we'll get them done for June. First Pride was a Riot Speckle. Again, discontinued. KnitCircus went out of business. But I bought this as soon as I found out, because I really wanted to have a little bit more of this Greatest of Ease superwash wool. It is just, I have knit at least 2 other pair of socks with this yarn, and it is very cushy. Then I saw that Fiber Seed, another American mail order yarn company, had a color that they came out with for Father's Day for their Sprout sock. I think it's for all of their bases, but I of course picked up Sprout sock, and this is black yarn. I know, but this is for my husband. There's a lot of blue and gray in here too. I am hoping that it's not all black, and I will have, you can see that there's really quite a significant stripe of navy and gray in there with that black. But this is called Dapper, and very generous yardage. And you can still get this. This is Sprout Fingering. It is, let me read how many yards it is here. It is 510 yards. So, that's probably 50 yards more than you would get on an average sock skein. And so I think I'll be able to use a good chunk of that for a hat as well. And cat hair on there. In the dark socks, you can really see the Bosco's and his white hair. But very cushy. This Sprout is a really nice twisted sock yarn. This color is still available last I checked. Fiber Seed, I will put a link below to Fiber Seed and the colorway of Dapper. And by Christmas, his birthday is in October, so maybe by birthday, but definitely by Christmas, these will be socks for the husband. All right, so those are 2 plans. I wanted to share with you guys something that came out this week on the Modern Daily Knitting website, an article called 2 Types of Knitters by Emily Breedlove. And it was interesting because I read that and thought this was something I was already thinking about in terms of what I wanted to talk about on my podcast today, which is being incredibly creative with your yarn and your knitting versus swatching and checking and working on all the ends. And in fact, I'll just read this to you. The type A, this is from Emily Breedlove. Type A, dedicated to the gauge swatch, double checking dye lots, stitch counter on hand, pattern notated perfectly, immaculately woven in ends. That's type A. Type B is the pattern is a suggestion, gauge is close enough, ties knot instead of weaving in, tosses everything into a project bag and hopes for the best. And Emily says, I'm putting myself in category type B, here for a good time. And I have been thinking about this in terms of 2 projects that I'm currently working on and off. And how a number of people, I think there's like 93 comments so far at this article, I've linked it below, about whether people feel that they're type A or type B. And a lot of people responding, I'm type D, depends. Depends on the pattern, depends on who it's for, depends on if it's a gift, etc. And but I have been struggling with a very basic t-shirt that I'm making for middle child. And this is in Berocco. And I don't want to have anything fall out of this, but It is in Berocco Remix Light. And it's a t-shirt by Elizabeth Smith, and I will link this below. This is the front. It's got a hemmed version. I have hemmed it already. And it's just miles and miles of garter stitch. In a very soft, comfortable yarn. This is 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. It is recycled, 100% recycled fibers. And this is in colorway, does it say? Let's see. I think it's like wine or eggplant or something like that. Anyway, it's a purple, red purple. And so I have had this up to the point where I knew it was time to start shaping the shoulders, and I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to bind off and have a square t-shirt, which I could do. But the pattern calls for a little bit of shoulder shaping and neckline shaping. And I was stuffing this in a bag and just saying, nope, I'm not going to do it. And I realized, no, Fran, in this case, do the pattern. Go ahead and just follow the pattern and finish it and get it done. And that contrasts with a sweater that I have comments that I wrote on my Ravelry page for this from 2018. So this project is at least 8 years old, and I think older than that. This was the Arroyo shawl. I'm going to try to hold it up here. This was a shawl. Was going to be a shawl. And I did a humongous amount of math, realizing that it was wide enough and large enough to be a sweater. And I put sleeves on it, and now I'm working on the bottom and making it into a cardigan. And I'm sorry if I can't show you as well as I thought I might be able to what's happening with it. But I realized that this would fit as a cardigan, and I could make a cardigan out of it with little sleeves. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm playing yarn chicken, and I'm going to wind up with I think a little cropped sweater, but that's okay. I just decided that it had been sitting in the bag long enough, and I would wear it more if I had a sweater, but it took a lot of math, a lot of jiggling it, figuring out how it would fit, trying it on, putting it on 4 needles and trying it on 4, circular needles, so I could really get it all the way around me and tuck it under my arms and everything, just to fit it right. It took a lot of time and a lot of creativity and a lot of throwing out the pattern and saying, no, I don't want to put more lace on the bottom of this. I really want to have this be a plain bottomed cardigan. And that is the, uh-oh. You okay, Bosco? He's okay. He just wants to be here next to me. He's fine. Just letting loose with the pattern, throwing that out, doing a bunch of math, making a bunch of decisions, and making it my own completely. So I think all of those people who are saying it depends get it exactly right. There's times when I just want a plain pair of socks. I'm just going to knit that pattern that's in my head and finish them. And then there's times when, maybe I really want to explore a different kind of pattern or make something that's not according to pattern. This purple sweater that I've worn before on colder days was done according to pattern. The scarf which is a Casapinka scarf, was a shawl. I made it into a scarf. I didn't like sections of it, so I covered them with crochet yo-yos, which you can see right down there. I just really went to town on making it something that I would want and something I would wear. And then when there were parts of it I didn't like, I changed it over and sewed crocheted bits onto it. So to each his own. I like the idea of being here for a good time. Knitting is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be a hobby, and I am enjoying it. I'm having fun. This cowl is another Casapinka that is way too hot to be on today. I just wanted to wear something that I knit, but I think this is the Click-a-Cat cowl. It was a kit, 2 skeins of Koigu. And this is also in my Ravelry queue with lots of texture. And I really like how it went together. I'll hold this up for the, there we go, for the little picture on YouTube. And I guess that's it. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Yeah, with the t-shirt, I'm just saying I'm growing up and just knitting a pattern. Just get it done. It's a plain garter sweater. Just do it. But in other instances, when something's for me, then I'm going to have fun and knit it the way I want. And I hope you guys are having fun knitting, and I'll see you next month with a finished pair of socks, which may be out the door already, and the Pride socks underway, and maybe I'll have one of these sweater print projects done. Certainly some more to show you. Have a good month. Bye-bye.
What's Blue Gal knitting this month? It's gonna have color, it's gonna be socks. Maybe a sweater for the cold night weather, but whatever she's stitching, you know it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Oh, it rocks. Striped toes peeking from the Sunday slippers, charts scribbled down on a sticky notepad, soft wool waiting in a basket by the window, every single stitch turning meh into rad. What's Blue Gal knitting this month? It's gonna have color, it's gonna be socks. Maybe a sweater for the cold night weather.